Chapter 2: The Quality of Life. Depends on perspective, and eventually, we become what we think we are. Someone once told me, most battles are won or lost in the mind first, and I've yet to find a statement truer about how we move through our days. Every obstacle, every opportunity can look drastically different depending on the lens we apply. If you believe life's out to get you, you'll spot conspiracies in every mishap. If you believe there's room for growth, you'll find lessons in the toughest moments. How our inner narrative shapes our world. Picture a hallway lined with doors. Some are marked with signs like career, relationships, health, or personal dreams. Now imagine you're carrying a key labeled pessimism, hopelessness, or fear. There's a good chance those doors remain locked, each one echoing with the voice in your head that says, "It won't work out." But swap that key for possibility, adaptability, or hope, and you might discover a few of those doors can open. This is the essence of perspective, the filter through which we interpret life's events. I've met individuals who faced identical hardships, a job layoff, a medical scare, but handled them in starkly different ways. One would dissolve into despair, ruminating on worst-case scenarios, while the other refused to define themselves by this single chapter, instead seeing it as a chance to pivot, to realign with what truly mattered. It's not that one was inherently stronger than the other. It's that their internal stories diverged, rewriting the stories we tell ourselves. I remember a time when I nearly quit writing altogether. I'd encountered a barrage of rejections, publishers passing on my work, readers showing tepid interest. I found myself thinking, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Then, late one night, I read an interview with an author who had been rejected more times than I could count. They spoke about how each rejection was like a nudge to refine their craft, a sign they weren't done learning yet. That reframing hit me like a revelation. Suddenly, each rejection letter felt less like an insult and more like a stepping stone, reminding me I still had places to grow, angles to explore. I decided to view that difficulty as a co-author in my journey rather than an enemy. And that little twist in attitude changed how I approached every draft thereafter. Stories of perspective in action. The rookie athlete. I once watched a local runner keep placing dead last in 5K races. Instead of labeling himself the slowest guy, he made a mental shift. I'm the determined rookie who's learning the ropes. He asked faster runners for training tips, switched up his diet, and studied technique videos. Over several months, he shaved minutes off his time. Though he never came in first, he discovered a sense of pride that had nothing to do with medals. A classroom turnaround. A teacher I know inherited a class notorious for poor behavior and low performance. She could have just given in to the label unreachable. Instead, she engaged the students in a frank conversation about their strengths, their dreams. She reframed each student's troublemaking as a sign of potential leadership, passion, or creativity gone astray. Did she fix every issue overnight? Of course not. But attendance rose, grades improved, and, more importantly, students began to see themselves differently. The neuroscience angle. Some psychological studies suggest that our mindset doesn't just change how we feel, but how our brains process information. A hopeful perspective can activate problem-solving regions of the mind, while a defeatist outlook may trigger stress responses that hamper creativity. It's as though your neurons themselves become part of the narrative you choose to live by. When perspective meets real hardship, I'm aware that shifting perspective can sound like a luxury, especially when life hits hard. Losing someone you love, facing financial ruin, enduring chronic illness. In those moments, optimism can feel naive or even insulting. But perspective isn't about denying pain. It's about remembering that within the pain, you still have agency. Maybe you can't fix the situation immediately, but you can decide how you respond, how you care for yourself, and how you let others help you. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, wrote that even in unimaginable suffering, one can discover meaning by deciding how to bear that suffering. His was a perspective forged in fire, a reminder that sometimes life forces us to adapt in ways we never thought possible. Putting perspective into practice. If we were mulling this over on a porch at sunset, I might suggest a few personal exercises, micro-challenges. Choose one small frustration in your day, traffic, a rude comment, a technology glitch, and practice reframing it. If you're stuck in traffic, think, "Now I have a moment to play my favorite podcast." If a coworker is brusque, consider they might be under stress, and it doesn't have to define my day. Gratitude shifts. Before sleeping, list 3 things that happened, big or small, that made your day a little better. Over time, this tilts your brain toward noticing positives instead of sinking into negatives. Mentor moments. Seek out people who've navigated hardships with grace. Listen to their stories or read their memoirs. Sometimes, perspective is caught rather than taught. Journal the alternate ending. If you're wrestling with a setback, write down how you've been interpreting it. Then craft a different scenario. Maybe you're the underdog who learns a crucial lesson here, or the adventurer who stumbles into an unplanned detour that changes your life. Choosing hope without denial. All this talk of perspective isn't to say we should sugarcoat genuine problems. It's more about deciding not to surrender every ounce of power to misfortune or fear. Each time we reframe a setback, we reclaim a little bit of our story. I like to think of it as leaving a porch light on for hope. Even if the rest of the house is dark, that light signals that someone's still awake, still holding space for a better tomorrow. Adopting a perspective that leans toward possibility is like tending that light, refusing to let the night feel infinite. Reflective prompts. One life. Chapter. Recall a moment you once saw as a dead end. In hindsight, did it direct you to something unexpected or valuable? Daily reframe. Think of one current annoyance. How might it look if you treated it as a stepping stone rather than a blockade? Future vision. Where do you see yourself in a year if you consistently practice seeking out possibilities instead of barriers? However you choose to approach it, remember that perspective isn't just a mental trick. It's a lens through which we interpret meaning, decide on actions, and chart our path ahead. And yes, life can be messy, heartbreaking, and full of surprises. But if we hold tight to the idea that how we see things shapes what we ultimately do, we leave ourselves open to discovery, hope, and a little everyday magic.